Las Vegas, USA, destination of gamblers, thrill seekers, and for the next 7 days, demolition experts. The owners of the New Frontier Hotel want it demolished to make way for a new multi-billion-dollar casino complex. To do the job, they've hired one of the best in the business, the family-run Controlled Demolition Incorporated from Maryland, USA. Mark Loiseau heads up this unique family business, designing and overseeing the implosion plan. In an industry where lives are at stake, he likes to know who he's working with. That's why wife Sherry and daughters Devon and Stacy are alongside him on most jobs. The schedule is tight. Every day the old casino stands, the new owners lose millions of dollars of potential revenue. They want it down in just 7 days' time. The Frontier's slot machines fell silent 4 months ago, sealing the fate of one of the oldest buildings on the Strip. 16 stories high, it is a blip on the modern Las Vegas skyline. Dwarfed by the shopping mecca of the fashion show Mall, dream casinos, and not least, the 64-story Trump Tower Las Vegas. It's brand new and it's all glass. In this sea of windows, the Frontier presents a major challenge. Mark normally demolishes buildings using gravity and momentum. So, the shorter the building, the harder it is to drop. The Frontier is short, long, and narrow. The building's natural tendency is to drop forwards, but Mark wants it to drop sideways into a small fall zone, away from neighboring buildings. For the plan to work, Mark needs dynamite to explode the supporting walls from north to south in sequence. As the last explosions go off, cabling installed by the crew will tighten and drag over the far south wall onto the rest of the structure. If the plan works, debris will be kept away from the billion-dollar real estate surrounding the hotel. It won't be Controlled Demolition's first gamble in Vegas.
You know how circus groups travel together? You know, this is sort of, it's the same thing. It's like family, the whole family does this, and they go from one place to the next. Instead of being, you know, circus performers, they're sort of the grim reaper of buildings.
In all, CDI has dispatched 20 structures on 12 casino properties, 10 in the last 5 years alone.
Mark Loiseau says he has a plan to knock down anything on the Strip. And then when I said to him, I said, you got a plan to knock down the Bellagio? And he's like, I could do it. Like, well, yeah, but probably not for quite a long time. It's like, you never know in Vegas.
For the plan to work, there's a lot to do. The team need to drill holes to hold the dynamite, install the steel cables which will drag the building over, and gut the whole hotel down to its concrete shell. But the biggest job will be to weaken the interior walls to allow the building to collapse. Only after this work is complete can the team load the explosives. With the plan laid out, the crews get to work.
And find the highest horizontal bar. So we got to figure that out to determine how high we can take this, because we don't want to take out that horizontal reinforcement.
Preparing the site is the job of project manager and CDI veteran Kevin Klass. His first challenge is to strategically weaken the interior walls. Called concrete masonry units, or CMUs for short, these support walls are made of concrete blocks reinforced with steel bars known as rebar. They make for incredibly strong walls that not only divide up rooms, but hold up the floors that the team are standing on.
And they're physically sitting on these walls is what's supporting them. So you certainly don't want to take out an area that would leave this precast panel in limbo. So that's why we have to go do some math and figure out what to leave and where they can sit, and still essentially accomplish our goal by isolating the column.
The team has calculated that they must remove 30% of the walls, leaving 70% intact. Any more, and the whole building could collapse, taking the team with it.
I'm going to take this panel completely out. If that's the case? Yeah, but we would leave this block in.
The CMUs cause another problem. The team are unable to complete a critical step of a normal demolition, a test shot. A test shot is used to find out how the building reacts to specific explosives, helping the team decide how much explosives to use and where to place them. But demolition designer Marc Loiseau is nervous about doing one on the frontier.
If you try to test shoot a CMU wall, you run the risk of losing a panel. If you lose a panel, you might lose more than one panel, you get a progressive failure. I'm just not comfortable doing test blasts in this type of construction.
The walls are unpredictable, and the entire building could come down around them if they proceed.
Just do that. We'll take out that and we'll leave a leg back there, but I'll put the tape on.
Without a test shot, the team will effectively be working blind in a 16-story building packed with explosives. Las Vegas, USA. A demolition team are preparing the new Frontier Hotel for destruction. One of the oldest buildings on the Strip, it isn't prepared to go without a fight. Once owned by billionaire Howard Hughes, the Frontier was the setting for Elvis Presley's first Vegas performance, and also hosted the last ever performance of Diana Ross and the Supremes. But despite those top names, the Frontier was never the most glamorous hotel on the Strip.
The Frontier is a tricky one because the Frontier has always been a troubled property. When this hotel disappears, there are very few people who are going to be crying over it.
Not least the developer behind the neighboring casino complex, billionaire Steve Wynn.
He talked about having his hotel across the Frontier as if he was being punished, and he referred to it as the single biggest toilet in Las Vegas.
The demolition team is working hard to remove the eyesore. They need to quickly gut the building right down to the bare walls, removing all fixtures and fittings.
But if you implode it with all that stuff, then you get a mixture of drywall, mixture of carpet, concrete, metal, pipes, and in the end, it's hard to clean up with the machines.
They're using a specially equipped digger.
Make sure he's getting it up high.
Its claw-like bucket makes short work of the fittings.
So that's why you want to gut it out to leave it just concrete. So when it comes down, it's just concrete that we're dealing with, not metal, not trash.
This preparation work allows the contractor to recycle the concrete debris after the demolition. But in the demolition industry, anything can go wrong anytime. On the ground floor, at the foot of the support wall, the team has hit a setback. Thick steel rebar. The original plan did not account for this much steel reinforcement, and without a new plan of attack, the building will not come down. Mark had expected to find rebar evenly spaced and each with a diameter of 19 millimeters. But at the Frontier, the rebar has been bunched together and each bar is twice as thick as he'd planned. Mark has real concerns that even dynamite could not demolish these internal walls.
I've got to get enough energy inside this rebar cage to bend this rebar in a vertical situation. Even with the concrete removal, hold this end of the structure up.
With only a week until the Frontier Hotel Casino is demolished, The team have been dealt a bad hand. And they still need to drill individual holes for each of the 5,000 sticks of dynamite needed to demolish the hotel. The man in charge of that job is Craig Keyes. The other workers give him a lot of respect.
Craig Keyes is one of the finest drillers I've ever seen. He's smart. He doesn't run the drill so much as he lets the drill run itself and guides the drill.
Craig and his team must drill each hole to a precise depth in order for the dynamite to properly explode. It's a tough job.
He won't say anything, but I know he feels it, but he's just tough. Tough guy, good guy. I ask him who he is, and he says, just describe me as 250 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. And I just walk away at that point. That's all I need. He's a good driller.
With drilling underway, other team members can start to install another vital part of Mark's plan, the cabling. There are 16 support walls within the structure, 8 to the front and 8 to the rear. All will be loaded with dynamite, except the south walls. These will be dragged over. For the plan to work, the team needs to wrap cables around the outside of the south wall and clamp it to the first major support, the elevator shaft. Mark has calculated cabling needs to be installed on just 2 floors, the 4th and the 8th. On demolition day, Mark will trigger explosions at intervals, moving from north to south. As the building collapses, enormous tension will be placed on the cables, pulling the south wall inwards, away from neighboring buildings. With work well underway in the hotel, the team must also clear the site, removing one of the hotel wings from the fall zone. The wing is only 3 stories high and wood framed, so the team can use an excavator to tear it down. But just as they begin, workers discover asbestos, a toxic substance which must be removed before any work can begin. It's a painstakingly slow job. All of the asbestos must be bagged, tagged, sealed, and removed by hand. With daytime temperatures reaching 30 degrees and crews wearing biohazard suits, the work is hot, sweaty, and difficult. But there are no shortcuts. The team must complete the job